love to win. You love to win.
All right, guys.
It's the death to freedom. It's the
We're back with a special report having to do with the election tomorrow, the primary election in Georgia.
You love to choke.
As you know, we've got the mayoral election going on also. And I think it's going to be a stomp down drag.
Always win.
We got Mara,
Tamika,
we've got Tim Denson, we've got Dexter Bishop, and of course we've got the hometown girl, the home girl, Dr. All right, so before we get into it, let's get to the theme.
You can struggle.
An article in the flagpole, and then I've got some sample ballots that I want you to take a look at and get an idea of how tricky these people really can be. So let's get started. Give me 1 second, guys.
It's the death of freedom. Better lifestyle. You love.
All right. We are back. Can you hear me? Are we loud and clear, or is there difficulty? All right. First of all, we want to talk about the games that they play. I've got a couple of sample ballots. Let's take a gander at that and see what you think about it. These ballots are not the same, right? You would think that all of us are going to get the same ballot to vote on, but they've got a difference in the ballot. Let's go with this nonpartisan ballot first. This is what I have. And then I had to go check out the Democratic and the Republican ballot. Now, as you can see, clearly says general primary, and they've got United States Senate, and actually this is a Republican. United States Senate, they've got governor, Republican governors, they've got lieutenant governor, secretary of state, attorney general. These are the different people who are running for these Republican offices: commissioner of insurance, state school superintendent, public service commissioner, District 3, public service commissioner, District 5. You've got House of Representatives. You've got State Senate, District 47, State House of Representatives. We got Republican Party questions. And these questions are very interesting. Let's take a look. Should Georgia enact the strongest election integrity measures possible, which may include hand-marked paper ballots, fines for counties that refuse to maintain current voter rolls, and restrictions on no excuse absentee voting to restore trust in the elections? That's one, and that's an example. The second one: should Georgia prohibit judges from releasing criminal defendants accused of murder and other felonies without posting secure bail? Number 3, should Georgia extend the death penalty to include sexual crimes against children? I'd say yes to number 3. I'd say yes to a couple of these, I'm thinking. Number 5, should Georgia public school systems to make all instructional material and library content publicly accessible online to parental review? I would say yes. That sounds about right. You need to be able to look over your children's school material if that's what you're into. Number 4, we missed. Should the United States Constitution be amended to limit the number of Supreme Court justices to a maximum of 9 to prevent partisan court packing schemes? What do you think? Should they increase the number of the Supreme Court justices? I'm up in the air on that. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. Number 6, do you support making Georgia energy independent by prioritizing American oil and gas production, reducing regulations, and delivering lower energy costs for families? In theory, that sounds good, but we know that's just a ploy for the billionaire class to make more money. Number 7 and 8. Do you support banning cell phone use in Georgia public schools to improve student focus, safety, and discipline? That's a yes. I think the cell phone should be banned from the class because they are quite difficult. Number 8, should Georgia enact laws punishing state and local law enforcement who refuse to cooperate with federal immigration authorities in the deportation of illegal aliens charged with serious crimes? That's a no-brainer. Yes, they should. And it goes on to display the nonpartisan general election. They've got Justice for Supreme Court of Georgia. They've got Justice for Supreme Court of Georgia. They've got Justice for Supreme Court of Georgia. Now, we're vaguely mentioning these, Georgia Court of Appeals, but these are people who are in charge of ruling on issues and matter that pertain to the public. And here we've got the main entree. We've got for mayor. We've got Tim Denson, Dexter Fisher, Lakeisha Gant, Sharon Miller, and Mara Zuniga. Now, we've also got the write-in, and the write-in is very important to me because, as you know, I am calling myself a candidate as a write-in candidate for U.S. Senate against the incumbent Senator Jon Ossoff. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. Tonight, we're talking about the primaries in Georgia. We're talking about the mayoral race in Georgia. We're talking about the district races in Georgia, the commissioner and board of education here in Georgia. All right. Now, this happens to be the Republican, and it finishes out with district. I'm in District 5. That's Kimberly Bennett, Xander Mason, Rick Stanziglia, Craig Topple. And then we've got County Board of Elections, District 5, Heather M. Fletcher, and Fred O. Smith. Then I think that may round it out, except for a special election, 1% transportation tax for local option sales and use tax, trying to raise about $239,000. Now that was one. Let's take a gander at this other one and see what you think about that. That was Republican. Let's see what the Democrat has. Now, if you don't pick the right ballot, you're not going to be allowed to vote. I happen to support the hometown hero, Mr. Michael Thurmond, in his run for governor. But I'm not allowed to participate because I chose a nonpartisan ballot. And the reason I'm discussing this is to show you just how sneaky and how deceptive these people are. They won't allow you to look at the full board of the people who are running for elected office. They want you to look at a small sliver, a partisan sliver. If you are nonpartisan, meaning you're not with Republican or Democrat, they want you to look at only certain candidates. If you're Republican, you can only look at the Republican candidate. If you're Democrat, you can only look at the Democrat candidate. Some people want to look at both sides, all candidates, and make a decision on their own. But they insist on having you locked in to one particular party. Now, here's Democrat at the top of the ticket for United States Senator. That's Jon Ossoff. He's the incumbent, and he doesn't have anybody running against him. Next, for governor, we've got Keisha Lance Bottoms, former mayor. We've got Ula Brown, Amanda Duffy, Jeff Duncan, Jason Estes, Derek Jackson, and the hometown favorite, Mr. Michael Thurmond. Now, ideally, Mr. Michael Thurmond should be a shoo-in because he's been loyal to the Democratic Party. He's made history in the state of Georgia, and he's been a lifelong Democrat. But believe you me, they're probably going to go with someone else, particularly Keisha Lance Bottoms or Jeff Duncan, and sidetrack Mr. Thurmond. But just know he's been faithful to the Democratic Party for the last 50 years, right? Ever since he graduated law school, he's been supporting the Democratic cause, the Democratic mantra, and the Democratic platform. And you see if they pick him for the candidate for the Democratic Party. He's paid his dues. Trust you and believe me, he's paid his dues. For lieutenant governor on the Democratic side, we've got Josh McClain, we've got Richard Wright, we've got Nabila Parks. For Secretary of State, for Attorney General, for Commissioner of Agriculture, for Commissioner of Insurance. We've got a nice full list of candidates. A labor commissioner, also Michael Thurman held that position. Public Service Commissioner, District 5, I think that was District 3. United States House of Representatives, District 10. For State House Representative 122, Spencer Fry. We've heard so much about Spencer Fry. And the Solicitor General. Now, State Democrat Party question. Should the state of Georgia raise the sales tax on everyday items like clothing, food, and school supplies to pay for the income tax cut that would make millionaires and billionaires rich? Do we want to add taxes? I'd say no, but I'm not a Democrat. Is it ethical for political candidates who have used the public offices to enrich themselves and their families or have had nearly $1 billion of business dealing with the state of Georgia to hold statewide office? I don't think so. But hey, I'm not a Democrat. You guys have got to make a choice and decision. Nonpartisan general election. And here we've got the same candidates that we saw on the Republican ballot. Justice for Supreme Court. They've got the justices for Supreme Court. They're nonpartisan candidates, and they will not be on the ballot in November. So if you pick any of these nonpartisan candidates, they will take office, I presume, at the first of the year because they are nonpartisan, and it looks like they're all incumbents. Those judges look like they're all incumbents. And here's the mayor races, and I don't think there are any Democrats who are running against our field of candidates here. And they've got the special election, the 1% transportation special purpose local option sales tax. All right. And this last one I want to show you is the nonpartisan. And it's very short, it's very small, but it gives you an idea of how they run game when it comes to this thing called politics. Everything is political. Everything is about the resources and the allocation of those resources to the general public. This is nonpartisan ballot. They've just got the justices for Supreme Court of Georgia. That's Mr. Charlie Bethel, the incumbent, versus Miracle Rankin, Ben Ladd, an incumbent, Jen Jordan, Sarah Warren, the incumbent, Trenton Brown, the incumbent. Willie Wooten is running against him. Sarah Doyle is an incumbent for the Court of Appeals. You've got Fatima Harris, Felton, and Elizabeth Globlo. She's the incumbent. Georgia Court of Appeals. And all this is Supreme Court, Western Judicial Circuit for mayor. These are nonpartisan ballots. So you've got 3 different ballots for one community of people. Why would they do that? They do that because they want you to be corralled into one particular team and one particular ideology and want you to stay there. And if you're like me, you want to think for yourself, they don't want you to even be able to see those other candidates. Like I said, I'm not Democratic, but I am supporting Mr. Michael Thurman in his run for governor. And that brings me to this next subject matter, and this is coming from the flagpole. What's on the ballot May 19th? Find out what flagpole voters guide says. All right. And that's the picture that we have in the thumbnail, and that's the picture that we've got right there from this article in Flagpole. But it's a few days old, the 13th of May, and it goes like this. Athens voters will go to the polls Tuesday, May 19th to choose a new mayor, or at least narrow down the candidates to 2, and several commissioners and school board members, in addition to nominees for a host of partisan state and federal offices. Everyone will get a nonpartisan ballot, and can choose whether to vote in the Republican or Democratic primary, or neither, but not both. Runoffs will be held Tuesday, June 16th, if necessary. Remember that for nonpartisan races, there will be no November election. Here's a brief look at local races, as well as some of the more high-profile statewide contests. For more in-depth coverage, visit flagpole.com. All right, nonpartisan races. We've got the mayor of Athens, Georgia. It's a five-way race to succeed Kelly Girtz, who is limited to 2 consecutive terms. Tim Denson previously ran for mayor in 2014, was elected to the Athens-Clarke County Commission in 2018, and after Republicans in the state legislature drew him out of his seat during redistricting, won a spot on the school board in 2022. Denson, whose day job is working with the clients at a homeless day shelter, has the most detailed platform of any candidate. Though perhaps too ambitious or pie in the sky for some, including ideas like a moonshot to cut homelessness in half, he also wants to loosen zoning laws to encourage more housing construction and bring down costs, tax vapes to fund childcare for low-income families, and allow developers to get out of minimum parking requirements if they contribute to a fund for walking and biking infrastructure. Now, that was pretty in-depth about Mr. Denson. He leads off the article that gives me the idea that the flagpole may be biased towards Mr. Denson. Very liberal in his ideals, very liberal in his platform. His successor on the commission, Dexter Fisher, is a retired facilities administrator at the University of Georgia and Clarke County School District. Fisher is more focused on water and sewer, and he wants to explore expanding sewers throughout the county, while also casting doubt on whether Athens actually has a housing shortage. Now, Mr. Fisher retired from UGA means that they see him as an ally. They don't have a problem with Mr. Fisher becoming the mayor if he is elected by the people. Next up, Lakeisha Gant. Psychologist Lakeisha Gant, another school board member and formerly its president, is running because she feels underrepresented groups like native-born and Black Athenians are disconnected from local government. Gant has proposed attempting to negotiate with the University of Georgia to fund affordable housing, as well as sprawling outwards towards the building rather than building upward in the downtown area. Now, Dr. Gant, the hometown favorite, the hometown hero like Mr. Michael Thurman, she's got her heart in the right place. She's got the mind to match, but I don't think she's got the political connections to allow her to become the next mayor. Full disclosure, she is the candidate that I will be voting for. Dr. Gant, you've got my vote tomorrow. Sharon Miller. Sharon Miller's campaign is short on policy specifics. Rather, she touts her experience as a pastor and running state, federal, and nonprofit education and healthcare programs. Now, Ms. Miller